Hello everyone and welcome to this week's short video tutorial on opening theory. This will be bot 16 from the free ebook that is available for download on the World Xiangqi Federation website. The URL is given in the comment section below. So without further ado, let us go into the bot. Central cannon, 7th pawn advancement, pawn rank chariot variation, and edge cannon for chariot exchange variation. Red would refuse, and black could play r8 plus 2 to protect the horse. Now this is one of the older ways of playing this variation, and this variation has a name of its own. It's called high chariot to protect horse variation. This version is not so commonly seen nowadays because black would usually just retreat his cannon immediately after red's r2 equals to 3. One of the main advantages of doing so would be that black can be prepared to retreat c2 minus 1 and play c2 equals 7 and concentrate his material on this flank later in the game. So in the board of discussion, h8 plus 7 was given, and in this case black would choose to fortify his defenses with e3 plus 5. And in this board, red would choose to push his horse to the riverbank very early. There are several advantages to this move. If black chose to play a4 plus 5 to develop his chariot r1 equals to 4, by playing h7 plus 6, red could prevent that and play c8 equals to 6 and thus develop his left chariot. However, the key topic of discussion for this bot, would be c2 plus 4. Thus far, the moves have been considered to be standard variational moves in this variation. Now with c2 plus 4, black would be prepared to play c2 equals to 7 to attack the red chariot and also capture the elephant, so that black would now actually have an attack going on, targeting red's right flank. Now this is considered to be a move of deception because usually black would not make this move. Usually instead of playing c2 plus 4, black would usually play r1 plus 1. Now that would allow for development of black's other chariot and also concentrate material on this flank early in the game. And r1 plus 1 would be continued with r1 equals to 6, and that would sever another possible route for the red chariot, and the target of attack would be this chariot. But in this board, c2 plus 4 was played, and there are two main variations that are discussed at this point in time. There are two variations, the first of which would be p3 plus 1, the other would be p5 plus 1. However, when I ran this position through my computer, it was suggested that red could simply play h6 plus 4. If h6 plus 4 were played, black would not be able to capture the pawn, and red would still have an attack going on. But with p3 plus 1 or p5 plus 1, black would lose a little bit of the advantage that he had garnered over the time. But let us go through the contents. In the first variation, p3 plus 1 was played, and this was not a good move that would surrender the initiative to black very quickly and rapidly. With p3 plus 1, the next move that black could play would be c2 minus 1. This would target the horse and thus put red in a dilemma. If the horse moved, red would capture the pawn, and it would be to the same effect as as the pawn and cannon capturing the pawn at its place. So c2 minus 1 was given, and Red, according to the book, red could only accept this situation. If the horse will move to safety, the black cannon will apply a fork, as mentioned below. So, for example, if the black chariot would now threaten to capture the red chariot, forcing it to move away, and delivery check, and black would be and there are many ways that black could continue attacking. Now this variation was not shown. So in the book, p3 plus 1 was suggested. However, there was an interesting variation that was given in the computer. It was suggested that red could consider sacrificing material with h3 plus 4. I'll bring up the variation. So h3 plus 4. And it would be a very complicated situation. But let's go back to the book. So in p3 plus 1 was played, this was not a good move. Red would have captured material and gained an advantage of about 250 points in some variations. And things would spiral very out of control for red very fast. So in the book, red will continue with p3 plus 1, trying to protect or gain some compensation for the loss of the horse with the cross riverbank pawn. Unfortunately, this was black would not be afraid of this and play r4 minus 2 for the skew or for the fork to attack the chariot again. This will be a straightforward no-nonsense approach. If h7 minus 8 were played, red will counter with h3 plus 4. Let's say if h7 minus 8 were played, red will counter with h3 plus 4. And black would have gained a little bit of momentum attacking, and this would not be good for black. So this will be a no-nonsense approach, and red would try to trade chariots, which black would accept. A check first, and black would gain more momentum in attack with 1 equals to 2, forcing the cannon away, and then play r2 plus 4 for a counter sacrifice. Now the chariot will now be prepared to move to the other flank, and red would have an attack going on, while the red piece would be still stuck. The red chariot would still be stuck and would not have many good lines for further development. So at this point in time, black would have a significant advantage. Ran the position through my computer, and black would enjoy an advantage of over 400 points. So this would be black would have successfully gained an opening position that he wanted. So if p3 plus 1 was not good, the recommended variation in the book was p5 plus 1, which was a counter sacrifice. And because p5 plus 1 was played, even if black retreated the cannon, he will still not be able to touch the chariot over here. So let us see what the book had in store. So if p5 plus 1 was played, black would again try to create mischief, cause trouble with g2 minus 1. So in this case, red would actually attack with h6 plus 7. Now with h6 plus 7, the cause would now be threatening to capture the black cannon. So black would capture the central pawn as planned, but at this point in time, red would have already gained an advantage of well over 200 points or nearly 300 points. So in the book, red will continue with h3 plus 5, which was a little bit controversial. Computer analysis would suggest a6 plus 5. The reason for this move being a little bit controversial was because black would continue to attack with c9 plus 4, and black would gain some momentum in attack. r1 plus 2 would not be a good idea, as black would choose to capture the black cannon, and after trading cannons, red would play c5 equals to 4, whereby now there would be many options for red to continue. The most deadly threat would be c4 plus 3 to form a skewer here, and thus red would gain more material. If black played r2 equals to 6, there would also be h5 minus 6 to threaten to gain material or trade cannons. So all the red pieces would be in the open, and red would be attacking very viciously. So r1 equals to 2 is not an option, and the book c9 plus 4 was suggested. And at this point in time, red would simply trade cannons. And after trading cannons, trading material, red would play p9 plus 1. Now this move is a nice move. The main idea would be to develop the Chariot r9 plus 3 to capture the black cannon. So black will usually try to trade material. Say p5 plus 1 was played, and red would play r9 plus 3 as planned. And after trading cannons, I plus 4, red would finally play a4 plus 5 to try to develop his chariot. And red would have a nice advantage going to the mid game. Again, as can be seen at this point in time, the black cannon would have no place to go. It cannot advance, or it will be captured by either elephant or the advisor. And the black chariot will still have trouble being developed. The presence of the horse and chariot applying pressure on the black horses still very significant, and red will enjoy a significant advantage in this at this point in time. So a quick recap. This would be the high chariot to protect the horse variation, and this will be the move of discussion. c2 plus 4 is not advocated, and if c2 plus 4 were played, nowadays it will be recommended that red play h6 plus 4 to protect the pawn and also to attack. Now, in the book, p3 plus 1 was discussed, which was not a good idea. This would fall into black's trap because black could still attack the pawn in this same file, and thus gain some momentum, and also pry open the red defense, preparing for a flank attack if all goes as planned. Instead, p5 plus 1 was suggested in the book, which would seem to be a nice alternative, and if played correctly, after sacrificing the horse initially, which is the title of the board, the Pseudosacrifice, red would capture the cannon back and be able to continue attacking. So this would be the theme of the top of the board, and red will have enjoy a significant advantage. Black would still have a slightly playable game, but he will be on the receiving end for most of the time, and if black made any minor mistakes, he would lose very easily and very quickly. So I hope you've enjoyed this short video, and if you like the work that I'm doing, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.